he was found to be a communist spy. And he lied. Gee, when you lie from a communist is nothing, is it? They don't believe, of course, in the Bible or in God or anything else. So the point, here's point one. Do we have a global government in place today? Yes, Shalikashvili is on his knees to it, as is our military and even the president and her vegetable. Now, the second thing I would like to, in my newsletter, I have prayed, I have screamed at you, I have tried to argue with you. You need to get out of folding money and into gold and silver, and you need to do it now. I gave a talk last week at St. George, Utah. Friday night, just like this. Gentleman sitting about right over there held up his hand and said, "Hey, Colonel, today, most people get paid that are normal workers on Friday." He said, "Today I took my paycheck and I went down to the bank, the First Security Bank at St. George, Utah, and as I cashed my check, the clerk told me that they have in storage in St. George, Utah, and I imagine they'd have it here in Dallas, the new funny money, the new rainbow money, but they hadn't been given an order to issue it yet." What did the president say was going to happen with respect to a currency exchange? What year did he say they were going to change currency in the United States? It was in all the media. 1995, the end of 95 and 96. This is 1995, isn't it? Do you think banks have funny money prepared to issue? I think so. Now, what has happened here recently? Gosh, at one time the yen was 600 yen to the dollar. Then it hit 300. Then we watched it for years. It was in the hundreds, wasn't it? And now every day we have watched the yen tumble just, well, like a snowflake on a hot stove. It just went away. Now, do we have any dependency upon Japanese products today? I mean, you name me American-made products. It's one of the shortest lists in history, isn't it? And if we have great dependency on Japan, Japan owns the Justice Building in Washington, D.C. Did you know that? If we have such great dependency, what happens to the products when the American dollar is worth almost nothing compared to the yen? We pay a lot more, don't we? This is not good, is it? What happened to the Mexican peso? It kind of went away too, didn't it? Do you think, remember FDR, he said, nothing just happens. It's all carefully planned when it's political. This, I think, should shock you. Here is, out of the newspapers, a story that was just written, and those of you in the front can see it. It says, the G7 will change the monetary system. They are going to meet, this story says in the first paragraph. This comes out of New York City. They are going to meet in Halifax, Nova Scotia in June to form a world monetary system that probably will not include the dollar at its basis. Now, the American dollar has always been the point of value for oil, for gold, for other currency, hasn't it? How many of those for the U.S. dollar? What do you think is going to happen to the U.S. dollar when all of a sudden it is not at the center of the world standard? You think it's going to begin to shrink more and more? Do you see what is happening? Again, look at Machiavelli. Look at Hegel for these answers. Schultz told us when he was Secretary of State, we have a global economy here. Do you hear it every day? Do we have, is the fact, do we have a global economy? America is no longer independent, is it? We're no longer self-reliant. You can only buy two kind of tires that aren't foreign made. Girl Scout cookies are not owned by an American company. Brownie cookies are owned by Taiwan. I still buy I can't turn the little buggers away without buying their boxes of cookies, even though they're foreign owned. All right, you see where my point is? We do have a global economy. Are we going to have, when you see all of this up and down, look at the poor Mexican who's punching out Chevys right now in Mexico City, and he's being paid in pesos. Is this an advantage to General Motors? Yeah, because they probably just write them on the back of candy bar wrapper and send them on over there. And what about the American worker as the dollar goes through its ring? And as a matter of fact, in my notes here, they send me a magazine called the Economic Weekly, Business Week, sorry. And here's the copy of, I think it's 2 weeks ago. This is the cover. I just tore it off. It says the dollar is crashing, Mexico is in meltdown, the European currency is collapsing. Do you think this is all coincidental? I don't either. What's going on? They are going to have a world monetary system. Do you think the world monetary system is going to be in paper? I don't think so. How come? Can you imagine what it would take to try to issue out a world paper? Is it happening? Let's face the fact. When is it going to happen? June, the G7 meets in Nova Scotia to do this. So June is not very far off, is it? Now, does that mean that June 1st you're going to all of a sudden have digital money? I don't think so. But is it going to be decided in June? Probably. Do we have the facilities right now today to have digital money where there is no paper money? Could we do it? Never leave home without it. You've always heard of that, American Express. The banks want you to use credit cards, don't they? Use plastic. And I've got a whole list of things right here that show you the government, the new, it says Get Smart in the Federal Computer Weekly. It shows an ID card. It's got a little computer chip, doesn't it? Here's Bill Clinton. He's got one, high-tech national tattoo. Bill Clinton saying, never leave home without it. Okay? National Citizen ID proposed, USA Today. PC, you already saw that. This is what the ID card looks up close. Now here's an innovation. Here it says that we're using a little tiny chip to put into surgical implants today. 6 million, this is out of the LA Times, giving surgical implants IDs. Little tiny microchip. Listen to this. Guantanamo Bay. Where is it at? Cuba. Also known by the Marines as Gitmo. 30,000 internees right now from Cuba and Haiti and other places, right? Do you know how they are monitoring 30,000 internees at Guantanamo Bay right now today? Right out of this same beautiful Technicolor Federal Computer Weekly. The story came out just last week. They have a bracelet on their right wrist with a computer chip in it. And they have a 4 gigabyte computer that is actually able to monitor all 30,000 of the internees that are currently at Guantanamo Bay. Now remember when we used to have, it came out several years ago, a prisoner monitor. Remember they could put something on your leg and you stomped around at home, and if you went outside of the house, then they knew it. And you were supposed to be under house arrest. Now where has it gone? It's gone from the leg to where? The right wrist. And what is it? It's a tiny little computer chip. The military has it on their cards right now. The banks are all freaked out. Right here they say this is the greatest influence in technology that's ever come around because we can use this to go into a non-cash society. Where do you think that chip is going to end up? It's right on your right wrist, technologically speaking, right now. It's got just about that far to go to fulfill prophecy, doesn't it? Are these things true or not? Are they here today or not? Are these things coming? They are here, except the World Trade Organization, the G7, meets in June. Now, of course, I mean, almost all of you know, because I put it in my newsletter and I hollered and screamed and yelled at you, Gorby's meeting is when? In San Francisco. The 27th of San Francisco, he is having 8,000 world leaders come to the Fairmont Hotel. What are they? Huh? 27th of September. What did I say?